If you're a Pixel fan, today is a big day as we can finally give you our initial review and impressions on the new Pixel 9 series, starting with the highly anticipated Pixel 9 Pro. As a whole, the 9 Pro is for those that want access to all of Google's top tier features like you would expect in a pro level device with premium hardware and a compact form factor, and we're going to dig in as much as possible. I can't stress enough, this is an initial review as I've been only using the 9 Pro for about 7 days, which is not enough for a full verdict, but we will have a long-term review coming for you very soon. With that said, let's get right into it, but first, a word from our sponsor.
So I've just unboxed my beautiful Pixel 9, but I really need some protection. I need MagSafe, extra grip, and maybe even a little customization. Well, I guess that's where channel sponsor Dbrand fits in nicely. The latest range of Dbrand grip cases fulfills all of your requirements. Grippy? Check. Soft inner layer to stop scratching of your phone? Check. Ultra precise cutouts for all of the ports and peek holes? Check. Textured buttons? Check. Protective screen lip? Check. Customizable with Dbrand's official lineup? That's a big check as well. Dbrand even added MagSafe because Google couldn't be bothered. Don't like cases? Well, slap a skin on that thing. Super sleek, looks great, doesn't add any bulk. I mean, you don't want to leave your screen unprotected, so why don't you get a super precise Dbrand tempered glass screen protector? It fits like a glove and stops scratches above a level 6 and even plays nicely with all cases. Get protected with your phone, your Pixel 9 or any other Pixel for that matter, using the link down in the description below.
Let's get started with the physical hardware, and honestly, I feel we say the same thing every year, that the new phone is more refined and more mature than ever before. This year, I'll take things a step further and I'll say that the 9 series is a full-on redesign for better or for worse. A good place to start is comparing the 9 Pro to last year's Pixel 8, which was also praised for its smaller size. Taking a look at the 9 Pro, it's a bit larger with a 6.3-inch display from 6.2, while also being 2.3 millimeters taller, 1.2 millimeters wider, and a bit heavier at 12 grams. Regardless of the slight increase in size from the regular 8, the 9 Pro is still super compact and easy to handle, in part thanks to that updated design. If you heard our thoughts on the Pixel 8 in the past, then you would know that we really liked that cozy pebble-shaped design with the rounded, more bubbly corners, as it felt comfortable and smaller in the hand than it actually was. While the new shape of the 9 feels more like a heavy brick-like device with a more professional aesthetic. I find the flat edges and boxy shape give it a more serious look and wouldn't be too out of place in a high-end restaurant or a corporate office of some kind, let's say. Not to mention, these design changes also have some practical elements to it as well. The device as a whole feels more secure in the hand, as these flat rails add another level of stability when holding it over the rounded ones on the 8 series. Another change I like is the power and volume button, as they're much larger with a bigger surface area, which makes them feel easier to interact with. And lastly, the camera module has been redesigned with a new pill-shaped housing that does make it seem more extruded from the body of the device than it actually is. Thankfully, because the phone is smaller and more manageable, I find it can actually serve as a convenient grip for your forefinger whenever holding the phone in portrait mode. Moving on from design, let's take a quick look at the rest of the hardware. The Pixel 8 Pro features the Super Actua display tech with a maximum brightness of 2000 nits for HDR content, which is a decent upgrade from the Pixel 8's 1400 nits. Additionally, it has a peak brightness of 3000 nits compared to the Pixel 8's 2000. Side by side, you can see the differences, although it isn't major, as both displays are plenty readable in bright sunlight. However, the display improvements become more noticeable indoors, as colors on the Pixel 9 Pro don't shift as dramatically when viewed off angle. Effectively, the Pixel 9 Pro maintains that same great pixel display quality with some added brightness, which I'm always grateful for. Probably the most noticeable change to the display though is the larger cutout for the 42 megapixel front-facing camera. This larger cutout initially didn't bother me until my coworker annoyingly pointed out how low it sits on the screen, leading to some awkward UI elements where the camera almost cuts into the content, an issue we don't have on the regular Pixel 8 series. The upgrade to the Ultrasonic fingerprint scanner in the Pixel 9 series is a pretty big improvement that I don't see many people talking about. Ever since the Pixel 6, many users, including myself, have complained about the inaccurate, inconsistent nature of the fingerprint scanner, and this year Google has directly addressed that pain point. Long story short, the new Ultrasonic scanner is significantly faster and much more accurate than the ones from previous years. Speaking from experience on my Pixel 8, I would experience unlock failures many times a day, and more often than not, face unlock would trigger before the actual scanner could get a successful read anyways, whereas on the 9 series, I might get misreads maybe once or twice a day, leading to a much smoother and less frustrating experience to say the least. Regarding the Tensor G4, there are some upgrades I wanted to mention. While Google did introduce a new vapor chamber for improved cooling on the Pixel 9 series, our initial testing didn't notice a significant difference in thermals. In fact, the general consensus amongst our team is the G4 still runs warm on average, but it doesn't seem to experience the unexpected spikes in temperature like the G3 did. For instance, I did go on a long 2-hour walk this weekend, don't ask why, in 80-degree weather while using various functions like music streaming, testing out the new cameras with maps navigation while on data. During that time, the phone, to my surprise, didn't get excessively warm as the Pixel 8 would have. It's possible the updated modem may have something to do with this, but we'll need to keep testing to confirm how things are going. I will say, so far, so good. Another noticeable improvement to the Pixel 9 series is the upgrade to 16 gigs of RAM compared to 8 gigs on the Pixel 8 and 12 on the 8 Pro. This is something the entire team noticed during our usage where apps would stay in memory for longer periods of time, leading to a smoother multitasking experience. Although, I feel that's more of a side effect since the 16 gigs of RAM is more for AI tasks first and foremost. Based on my week of extensive usage, I regret to inform you the battery life appears to be the weakest aspect of the Pixel 9 Pro, at least so far. The testing we put on our devices involved heavy camera use, GPS navigation, downloading, and using all my usual apps like Duolingo, playing Star Wars Hunters, and messing around with the new AI features, all while maintaining maximum screen brightness, which is my preference, honestly. Despite this heavy load, the team consistently achieved around 5 hours of on-screen time, sometimes using battery saver mode, or in my case, topping off at some point before the end of the day. To be fair though, we've been really hard on these devices trying to get as familiar as possible, so this doesn't reflect what normal usage looks like. I truly do think once things even out, I'll be able to get through a full day no problem, especially after the adaptive battery feature kicks in, but for now, 5 hours of on-screen time is the best we've gotten so far. Google is sticking to their guns, keeping around the thermometer for another year, which I'm personally happy about. The only new change this time around is a live camera view when measuring objects, so you will have a small window where you can see how close you are to the object you're trying to check the temperature of. I know everyone won't use this feature, but it's not really intrusive if you choose not to. Personally, I just like having the option, and it's a unique feature that sets Pixels apart. Even though it's limited right now, I think there's room to expand functionality in the future, and obviously for those concerned about wellness during flu season, it's a good option to have when needed. Taking a moment to talk about the AI implementation here, I'd say this is the year where many features are starting to work seamlessly in the background, which is how I like it, to be honest. The AI weather report in Pixel Weather is a good example of this, as Gemini Nano can provide simple, easy to understand summaries of weather data. Personally, it does save me time as I can get a quick overview of the day and know what to expect when to expect it. Pixel Screenshots is another AI-powered app that works in the background as it brings efficient organization and search capabilities for screenshots, while also allowing users to add notes, group them into collections, or assign reminders for your screenshots. And one of my favorite features, if you screenshot a certain product, the summary will give you page links for quick access later to Amazon or the dedicated shopping page. In my opinion, this is probably the best Google app we've gotten in recent years that will only prove more useful as your screenshot library gets bigger and bigger. Gemini Live is another AI feature heavily marketed for the 9 series, although you can technically get it on any past devices with Gemini Advanced. Touching on it quickly, I really do think Gemini Live has great potential to be the all-in-one voice assistant. I want to make a dedicated video about it, but the natural back and forth conversation aspect is killer here, and once it has the ability to do everything Google Assistant can do, it will be a must-have in my book. Personally, I love using it for research of any kind, whether it's inquiries for international travel plans, how to get started with new hobbies, ideas for how to maximize your time. Gemini Live is very insightful, being able to easily condense complex situations or give helpful input as to how to respond to certain situations. I'm in the US and would like to do some international traveling soon. Give me some ideas that won't stress me out too much.
There are a lot of great options for international trips that won't be too stressful. First, let's think about where you want to go.
I want to do something involving swimming.
Okay, swimming. A beach vacation might be perfect for you. There are tons of beautiful beaches in the Caribbean that are great for relaxing and swimming. Some popular options are Cancun, the Bahamas.
My budget is around $6,000.
Gotcha. A budget of $6,000 is pretty flexible for an international beach trip. In the Caribbean, that could get you a
Basically, if you're like me and you have a million questions at any given moment about anything in general, Gemini Live can help offload some of those curiosities in an almost human-like manner, which is pretty wild. Google's highest priority right now with Gemini Live is to get it to a point where it can easily be a full Google Assistant replacement with extensions, full hands-free controls of your phone, and full control of other aspects of the Google ecosystem. From what we know, it is coming in the future, but for now, it still might not be that Google Assistant replacement yet, but it's damn good for what it is today. Some other upgrades you should know about is the new Gemini overlay, which eliminates the need for full screen UI responses, which was always annoying to be kicked out of the app you were in. Call Notes is another good one, which uses Google's excellent transcription software to summarize phone calls. Although it's still in preview, Call Notes hasn't been absolutely perfect on my end, as it shows mixed results with summaries sometimes being inaccurate, or in my case, still processing a summary 3 days after my initial phone call. At this point, I don't think it will ever finish processing, which is frustrating as it was a pretty serious call that I was kind of relying on the transcription for, so we'll have to see how this grows over time. Lastly, the Pixel Studio image generation app and Magic Editor's Reimagine feature are intriguing additions, but in my opinion, their usefulness does heavily depend on the user's creativity. Pixel Studio is a good meme generator or photo editor, as you can generate all kinds of different scenes with captions and very few guardrails in place, at least from what I can tell. And that Reimagine with Magic Editor is good for those that want to drastically alter certain aspects of an image. They work fine, don't get me wrong, or I'd argue they work great, but not really something I'm interested in for my use case. Alright, trust me, I know that was a lot of AI talk, and one last thing I want to cover is the core Android operating system real quick. Something I've seen a lot of conversations about lately is the whole Android 14 versus 15 situation, and from what I've experienced on my end, Android 14 is perfectly fine on the Pixel 8 Pro. I know it's typical for the latest phone to have the latest Android build, but am I crazy for not being bothered in the slightest? Android 15 doesn't really have a ton of features right now anyways, aside from private space and some UI changes most notably. Otherwise, it's more of a housekeeping update than anything else, and I feel there's no rush to cram it into the Pixel 9 launch. My main concern is whether this impacts the number of major Android updates the Pixel 9 will receive, 7 versus 8 updates, depending on when Android 21 is released in 2031. And I almost forgot, while we couldn't test Satellite SOS because it wasn't live at the time of this recording, I wanted to throw Google a bone here for its upcoming implementation. Satellite SOS plus other safety features like car crash detection, safety check, and emergency SOS all come together to make the Pixel series a comprehensive safety device, and rightfully, it should be mentioned here. Finally, before we get out of here, let's talk about the camera system. I can immediately say it is very refreshing to see the Pixel 9 Pro is equipped with the same powerful camera setup as its larger counterparts, featuring a 50 megapixel wide lens, a 48 megapixel ultra wide, and a 48 megapixel telephoto. Looking at our initial camera samples compared to the 8 Pro, there are a few very minor things to point out, like colors looking a little less vibrant on the 9 Pro, while at the same time, shadows were more detailed for dynamic range improvements, and highlight control is a bit better compared to the 8 Pro as well. I can't stress enough though, these changes are very subtle, and if I had to put a number on it, I'm talking a few percentage points of improvement at best. The main takeaway here is that the smaller 9 Pro is now finally on par with the larger Pro level devices, which was the #1 request amongst potential buyers. And of course, the 9 Pro does have complete feature parity as well, with the inclusion of Zoom Enhance, 8K video recording through Video Boost, the updated panorama mode, manual controls, and much more. And that is a wrap for our initial look at the Pixel 9 Pro. In closing, the 9 Pro is shaping up to be Google's best offering this generation for a compact device. It's the smallest Pixel with the fewest compromises while still boasting all the major software features you would expect from a Pro level device. This is just the early days, so stay tuned for our full in-depth review coming soon, where we'll dive even deeper than we did today. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below so we can see what the biggest curiosities are within the community, and hopefully, by the time our full review is ready, we will have those questions answered for you. With that said, I'm getting out of here, my friends. Before I do, huge shout out to our channel members on screen right now for supporting us through the Pixel season and beyond. Don't forget to grab the August wallpaper pack medal if you haven't already, and if you want to gain access for yourself, hit the join button down below. In the meantime, this has been Jordan Floyd with 9to5 Google. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.